On the 21st of August 2017, a native doctor by the name of Nino Mbatha walked into an escort police station in Kwazulu Natal Province, South Africa, carrying a pink school bag that contained a very dark secret that was about to shake the cause of many South Africans. But before he revealed the content of this bag to the police officers, he told them to help him, that he was tired of eating human flesh. At first, the police officer thought this man was mad. I mean, how often do people come to the police station to say they are tired of eating human flesh? This was new. This was strange. It's one thing to come to the police station to say you had killed someone. It's one thing to come to the police station to say you had committed a crime. It's another thing to walk into a police station to tell them that you're tired of eating human flesh. The policeman on desk duty at the time, Mr. Chilinchali, did not believe this man. In fact, he urged this man to stay quiet. He told him, "Sir, it's your right to be quiet. You don't even have to say anything. You don't even have to confess to anything." But this man continued talking, and he kept speaking in Zulu language, telling them how he was tired of eating human flesh and how some people were making him eat human flesh. At a certain point, this man felt that since they were not believing him, it was time to show them what was in the pink bag. And that was how he brought out a fresh human hand from the bag and then a fresh human leg and placed it on the counter of the police desk. Immediately, the police officer called the attention of his fellow officer to come and see what he was seeing. And together, they both did not believe what this man was showing. They thought this were plastic or rubber, or they thought this was all fake. Until the man brought out an handkerchief that was filled with blood and it had a horrible human decaying smell. It was at this point that they knew that this man had done something horrible. Immediately, they placed him under arrest for suspected murder. After they arrested him, they suspected immediately that this must have been a case of a cannibal syndicate in the Kwazulu Natal Province, in which case Mbatha took the police officers to his house, where a lot of the horror was said to have happened. When the police officer went to his house, that was when they discovered the most heinous sight ever. They said that they were met with a horrible stench of human decaying flesh, and over time, as they searched the property, they began to see different body parts. It was said that they discovered 7 human ears in a pot in the house, along with bones, skulls, and different body parts. Mbatha also mentioned some names that were implicated in this cannibalism scandal, and immediately 3 men were arrested in connection to this suspected murder case that was about to unfold. Upon the arrest of these men, members of the community began to reflect on their own life. They were said to have recognized one of the men that were arrested and realized that this man used to sell meat for them. It was at this point a lot of residents in the community realized that they might have eaten human flesh because they used to buy meat from this man who had suddenly been arrested as regards cannibalism. Although some sources claim that the community where these men were from were fond of digging up graves and eating up human remains. It was said that upon investigation, members of the community admitted to have tasted human flesh, that sometimes they would dig up the graves of loved ones or deceased ones and eat their bodies. However, there is no particular law against cannibalism in South Africa. The only law to that nature was possession of human tissue without the permission of the humans themselves. But that was just one source. The other sources claim that the community realized that the man they used to buy meat from has been arrested in connection to cannibalism, which made them feel that all the meat that they had purchased from this man were of human meat. So it depends on what you want to believe, but these were the 2 sources as regards cannibalism in the community where Nino Mbatha was arrested. So at this point, the police recovered some of the remains at Nino Mbatha's house and urged family members who might have been looking for their loved ones to come and identify them. Although I don't know how that would have gone. I don't imagine them asking members of the family to go through a pot of human ears to ask them to identify their loved ones' ears. That wouldn't have sat well with me. However, there was one particular fresh body that had recently been killed and dismembered. So it was that remains that was probably most likely possible to be identified. So that was the remains that the police kept and asked people to come forward to identify. It's the discovery of these remains that would lead to the start of a new case of murder. Who was this person and how did he or she get there? And would the family of this victim be able to identify her? A month before this horror was revealed to the world, a 25-year-old single mother of one by the name of Zanele Latwayo left her hometown Shayamoya to Pietermaritzburg in the Kwazulu Natal Province to visit her grandmother. But before Zanele left her home, she told her mother and her sister that she had some concerns because at the time there have been news and headlines of people getting kidnapped and going missing in Pietermaritzburg. So Zanele had her concerns. She was aware of how dangerous the streets of Pietermaritzburg was, and she spoke to her sister and her mother to let them know her concerns. It was almost as if she wanted to go with her son so that he could meet his great-grandmother, as it had been a very long time she had seen her. Zanele's mother and sister did not really have so much concerns. They were aware that Zanele was a grown-up girl, and since she was aware of how dangerous the area was at the time, they suspected that she would be very careful, and so she thought, it was easier for her to go by herself to visit her grandmother than to go with the 2-year-old child, which was why she left the child back at home with her mother and decided to go see her grandmother at Pietermaritzburg alone. So on the 25th of July that same year in 2017, Zanele left her home heading for Pietermaritzburg. Her mother and her sister were not totally concerned, like I've said. They were of the opinion that she was a grown-up and she would be fine, so they didn't really check up on her. And personally, I understand this situation. Anytime I have siblings who travel to other states for school or for a project, I usually don't even call them to check up on them because I have the feeling that they will be fine, and maybe it will be like 1 week later before I can reach out to them. That would be after I have noticed that a particular shirt or trousers or belt of mine is missing. So I understood when the family said that they didn't exactly reach out to Zanele after she left because they felt she was fine. She was not new to the journey. She knew where the grandmother's house was, so it wasn't something of concern to them. However, 1 month later, after seeing on the news that a group of people have been arrested in connection to cannibalism in the same community where Zanele was said to be going to, the sister was concerned. It was at this point that they decided to reach out to Zanele, and unfortunately a line wasn't going through, and so they called their grandmother to be sure if Zanele was there. It was at this point that they called grandma, and grandma told them that Zanele never got there. Like, Zanele never got to her house, that they didn't see her. That was when the mother and the sister knew that something must have happened to their daughter. Immediately, Zanele's sister rushed down to the estcourt police station where Nino Mbatha was said to have been arrested, and where they've urged people to come and identify their loved ones. So the sister rushed there, and when she got to the police station, she was asked to describe her sister and the clothes that her sister wore the last time they saw her. And that was when the sister was able to describe everything that Zanele wore the day she left the house. Instantly, the policeman brought out the exact colors of clothes that had been described. Unfortunately, it was soaked with blood. They informed her that the body had no head, had no hands, and had no legs, so they didn't show her at first. But just with the blood-soaked clothes, the sister was very sure that the body that had been discovered from the homes of these cannibals was that of her sister, Zanele Latwayo. So how did they get Zanele, and why her? Some sources claim that Zanele might have branched off to see a friend on her way to her grandmother's place, which might have been the reason why she may have fallen victims to these cannibals. And I think that might have been true because according to the testimony given in court, Lungisani, one of the men arrested with Nino Mbatha, said that he saw Zanele drunk and offered to give her a lift home. And that was how they pretty much picked her. So if Zanele was drunk when she was found, is it possible that she had gone to a party or a club or somewhere that wasn't her grandmother's place? I mean, she couldn't have been drunk on her way from her own parents' house to her grandmother's house. So with this scenario, is it possible that Zanele might have gone out with a group of friends to party, and somehow these cannibals had targeted her from a party or a club or a bar and when they noticed she got drunk, or who knows, they might have also spiked her drink to get her drunk to a point where they could easily take her. Lungisani said that once he picked up Zanele, he immediately went to pick Nino, and together they went to the house where Nino would eventually commit these crimes, and it was there that they killed Zanele, butchered her, cut her hands, cut her legs, cut her head off her body. The thing is, Mbatha was the native doctor, and Lungisani was just a client who had gone to meet Mbatha requesting to be rich. He had gone to meet Mbatha to tell Mbatha that he wanted to be rich, that he wanted money, he wanted wealth, and it was then that Mbatha told him that if he needed all of these, blood would have to spill, that he would have to get the blood of a little child or a woman. And this happened weeks before they actually found Zanele. And so after Mbatha had given Lungisani instruction to find a blood that would spill for the purpose of his wealth, he went on a search. So this was actually the nature of Mbatha and Lusigani's relationship. This was why they were looking for somebody, and that was why they targeted Zanele, who they said was drunk when they found her. So all of this cannibalism-ish was just for the purpose of money ritual, was just for the purpose of making money. They wanted someone they could kill and use their blood for money rituals. So when they brought Zanele to their house, they cut her into pieces and, basically just removed her hands, head and legs from her body. And then Mbatha told Lungisani to eat up some of Zanele's flesh. That upon eating her flesh, that was how he was going to get the money. So after dismembering her body, they took her torso and dug a hole where they placed it inside the hole and used a very heavy rock to cover it. The purpose of putting her body into that hole and covering it with the rock was so that maggots could start eating up the body. According to Mbatha, he told Lungisani that if maggots start eating up the body, more money was going to come his way. It was in that hole that the police saw the body, and they had to use some kind of tractor to remove the rock before they could recover what was left of Zanele's body. So while they were waiting for Zanele's corpse to start yielding fruit, to start making them rich, along the line, Mbatha got tired. Mbatha got tired of the killing and the eating of human flesh and decided to turn himself in at a police station. Even though there's a possibility that he didn't know what he was doing when he went to the police station to tell them what he was doing, it was almost as if some part of himself knew that whatever he was doing was wrong. He and Lungisani were tried in court, and they were both found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison. Although there were 3 to 4 other people who were arrested and charged to court along with them, but these 2 people were the ones who did the killing and the cutting, and thereby they were the ones who were found guilty of murder. The other people were said to have probably been accomplices, and they might have also taken part in previous murder cases, but there wasn't any case brought before them as regards the people that they might have killed in the past, because there wasn't anybody charging them, there wasn't anybody bringing any case against them. So this particular case was for this particular killing of Zanele, and not the killing of all the other bodies that they had found or all the other body parts that was found in Mbatha's home. So the entire cannibalism case was just for Zanele and not for the other victims that might have been in the past, which was why Mbatha and Lungisani were found guilty of the murder of Zanele, and the other ones were probably acquitted because they weren't involved in this particular killing. The part of this story that did not sit well with me is the part where Mbatha was the one who went to the police station to report himself, claiming as though someone was forcing him to eat human flesh, whereas during the investigation the police found out that he was the kingpin. He was the one making people eat human flesh. He was the native doctor. He was the one performing these rituals and urging his clients to eat the flesh of their victims. They also checked his house and realized that his house did not have any lock or any barrier, so it wasn't as though he was held captive. He wasn't held captive. So why did he claim that someone was making him eat human flesh? Why did he claim that people were forcing him to eat human flesh? Could it be possible that these people he was referring to were not actual persons in human form? Could it be possible that these were spirits or demons that had possessed him and made him do what he was doing? And maybe at the time he went to the police station to report himself, those demons and spirits were just, sleeping, and he gained consciousness and decided to put an end to what he was being forced to do. The good thing is Zanele got her justice, and hopefully the victims of the past would also find some kind of peace in the news that these people were arrested and sentenced to life. But I would like to know what you guys think. What do you think would have been the reason why Mbatha decided to go to the police station, and why did you think he claimed that people were making him eat human flesh, whereas he's the one making people eat human flesh? Let me know what you guys think, and if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do well to subscribe to my channel and turn on your notification button so you will get notified whenever there is a future video like this.